Now let's look at 1.8, which is order of operations. So there's pretty much 4 levels when you're working in expressions of your order of operations. So the first level is your grouping symbols. So do all calculations within grouping symbols before operations outside. The next level, or number 2, is to evaluate all exponential expressions. So look for those exponents. The third level, do all multiplications and divisions in order from left to right. And finally, do all additions and subtractions in order from left to right. So those are the 4 levels that you have to follow when you're working with multiple operations inside one single expression. So let's look at some other types of problems that we'll be seeing. We will be using the order of operations here in a minute, but this is another type of problem that you're going to see. What happens if you have a negative outside parentheses of an algebraic expression or numerical expression? In other words, that negative on the outside also means opposite. So as a negative sign, or you can think of it as the opposite, which sometimes it's easier to think of it that way. The opposite of what's inside the parentheses. So the negative of everything that you see, so the answer to this would be negative 3x minus y plus 10z. In a way, we're distributing that negative throughout everything inside of the parentheses. So just remember, when you see a negative on the outside, that just means the opposite, or you're subtracting it, so you need to add the opposite. So again, on this problem here, you can think of it as distributing the negative throughout, or think of it as the opposite of everything that's on the inside. So the negative 10m becomes a positive 10m. Minus 3n becomes plus 3n, and minus 18 becomes plus 18. Now what happens if we put a term in front of that negative sign? You still want to start the problem the same way we were doing the previous problems. You want to start off by adding the opposite. So that 6x is going to stay, but now instead of a 2x, we're going to have a negative 2x or a minus 2x. And instead of a plus 7, we'll have a minus 7. So notice that everything that was in the parentheses is now the opposite, or the negative, of what it originally was. And now you can combine some like terms. I see 6x minus 2x would be 4x minus 7. And that would be my final answer, 4x minus 7. Now let's look at the next problem. I have 5y and 2y, and those are actually like terms. I can go ahead and combine those now or later, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and combine them now. There's no reason not to. And now instead of minus and then parentheses, we're going to say minus 3y, because it was originally a positive 3y, so now it's a negative. And then instead of plus 1, we're going to do minus 1. 7y minus 3y is 4y minus 1. Final answer. Okay, let's look at this problem. This is where the order of operations is going to come in. So you need to work with your innermost grouping symbols first. So I need to work with my 7 minus 4. That's where I'm going to have to start. So 7 minus 4 is 3. So now I'm going to bring down everything I haven't worked with yet. And now I still have grouping symbols, so I need to work inside my grouping symbols. I have a 3 and then a minus 2 times 6. So inside my grouping symbols, I have a subtraction and I have a multiplication. I have to do that multiplication first, so I still have the 6 on the outside. I still have my 3, and instead of minus 2 times 3, that's minus 6. So now I have 3 minus 6 on the inside. That is going to be negative 3. And I have a 6 on the outside. And when you have a number next to a grouping symbol, that means to multiply. So 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. Okay, let's pick a couple out of these four to do. We need to do one definitely with some exponents in it, so let's look at 23. We have 13 minus 3 squared plus 3 cubed. Remember, in your order of operations, we have to do grouping symbols first, which I don't have any. The next level is to do your exponents. So this one's going to be 13 minus 3 to the second power is 3 times 3, which is 9. And then we have plus 3 to the third power, which would be 3 times 3 times 3, which would be 27. So now I can just go left to right. The only operations I have are subtracting and adding, and they're on the same level. So 13 minus 9 is 4. So 4 plus 27 is 31. Okay, we haven't done one with a fraction, so let's go ahead and do the problem up above, 22. So I have some grouping symbols, so I'm going to work with that first. I have negative 28 divided by negative 7. Negative divided by negative is a positive, so that is going to be 4 divided by negative half. So recall, when you're dividing fractions, you actually have to multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of negative 1/2 is going to be negative 2 over 1, or just negative 2. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Now, the only reason why I put parentheses in there was so that it didn't look like a subtraction sign. I didn't want to get confused there. Let's go ahead and do the problem up above, 21. 4 minus 3 times 5 minus 6. Remember, order of operations, we have to do grouping symbols, which we don't have any. Exponents, don't have any of those either. The next level is multiplication and division. I have a multiplication, so I have to do that first. So it's 4 minus 15 minus 6. And now I can go left to right. All I have are subtractions. 4 minus 15. If you want to rewrite this as an addition problem, you can. But that would be negative 11, and then minus 6, and negative 11 minus 6 is negative 17.